tool is a browser-based application. Let's start by using a hypothetical organization, Healthy West, to author a GELLO expression. Note that the application can be customized to give a branded look and feel to the local installation. The application offers role-based access permissions. I'll start by logging in as an administrator with full access to the authoring tool's features. Having logged in, it is helpful to note the general navigation of the authoring tool. I'm hovering over the main navigation toolbar at the top that shows how to get more information, how to log out, etc. To the left is the Project Explorer window. Once I've loaded a GELLO project into the system, it will appear in this portion of the screen. Visible on the right is the home page. This content can be customized as desired. We've added tooltips to most of the screens in the form of hover text. The account information page is where user information can be added and changed as necessary, including contact information, passwords, preferences, and roles, the latter of which can only be modified by an administrator. Administrators have access to all of the accounts. Individual users can only see their own information. For the demonstration, let's next open up an existing project that is in progress. This is the project filter page. It allows the user to define the type of project and other parameters for searching the project database. In this case, I'll search for drug SPL project for the drug class opioids, searching for all the projects of any status. From the filtered results, I'll select the OxyContin project. Once I've selected a project, I have some other operations I can perform. I can delete the project, export it, import other projects into the system, or build an entirely new project. I will open the project, which will retrieve the project from the Subversion repository and provide the overall structure of the project as it relates to a drug SPL. Note the mirroring of the drug SPL sections to the left in the Project Explorer window. When a project is opened, it also opens the associated properties for a project. This is where I can give the project a name, indicate what drug it is associated with, the National Library of Medicine reference so that I can link the GELLO expression to the structured product label, the description, and a status history that shows what users or organizations have done with the project and how it has progressed over time. Typically, a project manager, which is a special role within the system, would be the one to change the status of a project. They would go to the properties of the project, open the project status window, make a status change, provide a comment, and that becomes part of the version history of the project. In order to start developing a drug SPL-based GELLO project, I'll need to reference the drug SPL itself. By clicking the already encoded link to the SPL in the Properties section, I can access the full DailyMed SPL information related to OxyContin. I'll skip down to the indications and usage portions of the label and begin to convert the drug SPL content from the original English text into GELLO. I'll focus on this first statement and copy and paste it into this indication for our project. The content already happens to be there, so I'll replace it with the content I just copied and format it to make it more readable. So this is the basic indication I'll start with and convert into GELLO. More specifically, I'll start with a more granular portion of the indication, the management of moderate to severe pain. When I check this in, it becomes part of the project and is stored as a read-only file in the project. Note that as I've been doing operations, the status of all the different operations I've been performing is documented in the status window. Next, I will parse out part of the SPL to focus on the indication of management of moderate to severe pain and work with that. As part of our workflow, we've now entered content for the SPL content node and the parsed SPL content. I'll then add a more detailed description by providing the SNOMED terms for moderate and severe pain. I'll open up the expression description node, check that out, then key in the SNOMED terms for my reference. This becomes part of the project content as well. At this point, I have enough information, having parsed the specific portion of the SPL and having looked up the appropriate SNOMED codes that I want to convert into GELLO, to actually write the expression. Let's take a look at the GELLO compiler and see how the compiler might behave when trying to process an empty file. As I launch the compiler, it finds an error because it didn't find anything to compile. I'll now paste the GELLO expression that was conveniently created for me by someone who, unlike me, actually knows how to author GELLO expressions. Then I'll alter it slightly to give it a syntax error, replacing the word code for co. When I run that through the GELLO compiler, it finds an error. The results window provides a link to the error. After correcting the syntax error, when I compile the expression again, it compiles without an error. Now I'll check this GELLO expression in so that it is read-only. Behind the scenes, the authoring tool has been keeping track of the activities that I've been doing and compiling that into properties for this expression. In this case, we're inherently working with a drug SPL. I'm working on an opioid class drug that is OxyContin. It shows the SNOMED terms, the expression ID, and so on. These then become searchable elements or properties for this expression. I'll show you later how you can search the database for any number of expressions through the authoring tool and pull up matching expressions that could be used for other SPL to GELLO conversions or for other use cases as the tool is developed further. It's important to test expressions to ensure that they behave as expected. Built into the GELLO authoring environment is a mechanism for entering test cases based upon the HL7 RIM and DMIM model. In this case, I will enter some XML that represents a simple test case to test that pain is severe. I will run this test vector through our GELLO expression and will expect the test result to be true. When I hit test, it will feed our test vector through the GELLO runtime engine, and as you can see, the output of that test is true. I can add additional test vectors to see how the expression behaves in various scenarios. Creating a similar test case, for example, with a different value will give a false result as it shows in the results window. Moving to another part of the system, I'll show you the expressions filter. Much like the projects filter, the expressions filter has the ability to filter on specific expression characteristics. In this case, I filtered on drug SPL expressions related to opioids. I've left the indications field blank. In the future, we will have the ability to search not only the local repository of expressions, but also external expression repositories so that information can be shared across the user community, and work that has already been completed on one expression for a particular use case can be repurposed or used as a template for other use cases and other expressions. In this situation, it's possible to take an expression from the fictitious Healthy East and import that expression by clicking the Import button. The new window shows the properties of that expression and provides a mechanism for me to select where I wish to import the expression, in this case, to the Detail 2 segment. The expression now becomes a part of the local GELLO project. Another important goal of this open source project is to provide the user and developer community with easy access to the source code repository, as well as provide tools for determining the status of different files, accessing their changelog histories, and so on. We've leveraged a tool that is freely available to the open source community called Fisheye that is a source code communications tool. As you can see, it provides metrics about our project, who has made recent changes to different files. In this instance, it shows the changes that were just made to this particular file, that is, the GELLO expression related to Detail 1, and it shows us all the change history associated with that file. Going back to our project list, the next step in the overall process in working with a project is to import our work into a higher level tool like a guideline authoring system. To do that, I need to export our project into a format that is readable by these other tools. I will do this by taking the overall content of the project and exporting it into an XML file. I'll then open another application and bring that XML file into it so that you can see what it looks like. This file can then be imported into a guidelines authoring tool.